Number 4121, preview. There we go. Let's make this go, well, there. Find the roots of the particular quadratic. Yeah. Normally, instead round to 2 decimal places, normally you would take this and kind of, you know, you were taught in high school math to move that over to the other side and this, that, and the other. You can square root it. You can use what's called the square root method if you want to. You can minus 0.7x squared from both sides, which leaves me 1x squared equal to 26.2, right? And then you can, you know, take the square root of both sides, so x is equal to plus minus the square root of 26.2, which is approximately, probably, I don't know, 5 point something, 5.1 or 5.0 something, 8 maybe. Let me get my calculator. And that's fine. You can do that. Let me get my square root 26.2. Come on. All right, so second x squared, 26.2. Enter 5.11 or 5.12. So it would be plus 5.12 and negative 5.12, because when you take the square root of something, you get a positive and a negative answer. Okay. Now, you can, if it's been a while and you're like, oh man, it's been a while since I've done quadratics, I'm kind of rusty on this, then don't sweat it. Put this in Y1 and put all of that in Y2, graph them, see where they intersect, because that's your solution. And that's going to be a more feasible route for you, and kind of what the modeling part of it, you know, using your calculator to solve stuff in, as opposed to doing all the algebraic technique like you would do in a college algebra class. So we're going to look at that and do it on the calculator, so you can kind of get a better sense of what to do. So y equals, clear anything that if you have there. So 1.7x squared, 0.7x squared plus 26.2, I think. 0.2.
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Okay. Now, all right. So I got those in. I'm just going to hit graph. I don't know what my limits are. I don't know what my, you know, for my graph in my screen, but I'm just going to start out. It didn't intersect, you know, where I could see. So I'm going to hit zoom 6. And then I'm going to do zoom 0. And that should show both of them. Okay. Now you see that they intersect over here on the left-hand side as well as the right-hand side. Okay. So what we're going to do, anytime you have to analyze a graph on the calculator, you're going to hit second trace. So second trace, we hit number 5, which says intersect, right? All right. Now, you see my cursor down there? I need to move it to the intersection that I want. That way the calculator will pick up on it. And majority of the time, I put it so that it's running into the intersection. You just have to get it near the intersection, okay? So I've got it there, enter, and you can see how it switched now to the Y2 up at the top. You see that it switched to Y2's line. Enter, I'm not guessing. And then you've got negative 5.1186, which is negative 5.12 if you round it 2 decimal places, right? So there, and then you do it again, second trace, 5, and then you just move it all the way. It takes a little bit to get that thing all the way over there, but we're going to do it. How many times? Oh, hit it 44 times. Woohoo! All right, enter, and that's positive 5.186, so which would be positive 5.12. So that's, when they give you equations, which is, if you think about your math that they gave you back in high school, and if you had to take a 97 or 98 class before you got into this one or whatnot, they made you solve things. Well, solve equations, no matter what they were.
Yes, sir. We did that last year.
With the 80,
grade. I'm in 12th grade now.
all right, but with the 83 and 84, the really cool thing about this, it doesn't matter. See, you got a left side and right side of an equation. You just put the left side in y1, put the right side in y2, graph them, see where they intersect, and you've got the solution. It doesn't matter whether it's a log, exponential, quadratic, cubic, any crazy thing that they can throw at you. If you got an equation, you put left side, right side, boom, done. And
do you put it as a point?
No, you use the x value. Okay. See, you're solving, when you solve a quadratic, you're solving, normally when you solve a quadratic, you're solving where it touches the x-axis, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you set it equal to 0, right? And that's where your output is equal to 0. But in this case, you're just setting left side equal to right side. You're seeing where they intersect, and you need the x value, not the y value. So that's why if you see where the x is positive 5.1186, and then over here would be negative 5.186. When we done it with, see how we got this?
Yes, sir.
So we got the same thing. It's just how do you want to approach it? So, most people might look at that and not know the square root method because it may have been, a while since they've done any type of algebra to for them to remember that. That's not something unless you really are familiar with quadratics. So I just tend to put left side, right side, graph them, get the x values, and that's what you need. Okay. All right.
Do you mind to work another one out for me, please?
Which other one? Let's go to here. The number 3 I done on the video. That's in the video. And I actually set, I think I put y2 as 0. Right? I put 0 in for y2.
I think so.
And then intersect where it hit the x-axis. I mean, you can find the second trace. I think it's number 2. It says zeros. That's if you don't want to put 0 in y2. You can do it and put your left bound, right bound, and you're good. So, but I highly recommend doing it on the calculator because you'll get more proficient. You'll be able to get through the calculator steps a little bit quicker. And when you're hitting problems and having to analyze them, if you've spent the time ahead of time to do it, then it's going to pay off dividends. If you got to sit and struggle through the math, pack it up, go to house. It's just, you'll run out of time. So.
And I also need help with number 6.
Oh. What does it say? Let's see. Solve for t, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you do this what would you put in? If you're solving for t, what would you put in the, for the left side over here? Hit this, cut. All right. So what would you put in left side? So you put 0 in because you're solving for t, right? Well,
Yes,
that
sir.
burn it. No, they're because they gave you g, but are they giving you g? Let's see. No, it's just solving a verbal. Okay. So you got to solve for t. T is equal. So rewrite the equation in terms of t. All right. So we're just going to teach you how to do this. T is being squared. So first off, t is being squared. Then it's being multiplied by g. And it's also being multiplied by 1/2, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's all that's happening to t, right? You agree? So
Yes, sir.
all we have to do is now reverse it. So if it's getting multiplied by 1/2 in g, then I can very easily go, well, let's divide both sides by 1/2 g, right? So that would be
Yes,
s
sir.
over 1/2 g equals t squared, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're doing the inverse of it. So if it's been multiplied, you divide, right? Now the last thing is this. It's being squared. So what's the inverse operation of a square?
Square root.
That's exactly right. So you'll take the square root of both sides. Now, before I do all this right here, and well, it'll be, let's just, t equals it'd be plus minus the square root of s over 1/2 g, right? But I'm going to show you something real quick. We got to take, and I've got to go s divided by 1/2 times g over 1, right? So the reciprocal, I shouldn't say the reciprocal of that, let's keep, change, flip, right? So we keep, change, and then
2 over
flips, right?
1.
So 2 over, yep, 2 over 1 times 1 over g, right? So that's really 2s over g. So that would be, so I'll write it like this, t equals plus minus the square root of 2s over g. We have a fraction down in the bottom, and we have a fraction in the denominator. The denominator of that fraction goes to the top. But I tend to not worry about remembering those. I tend to just work it out. Just go back
Okay, thank you.
the old math things we learned in what, 3rd grade, 4th grade, right?
Yes,
I think
sir.
it's so, and that's how I'll get s equals plus minus. But make sure it's a plus and minus, because when you take the square root of something, you're getting 2 answers, unless you're dealing with something that deals with a length or something like that. You'll still get 2, but you'll discard 1 because it's contextually it's not correct. So, all right.
That's all I have.
That's all you have. All right. So
Yes, sir.
the biggest thing, let's do this.